Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is well fed. I live in Rome, and every day I walk to work and I pass this famous, iconic imperial Roman structure called the Colosseum. During the era of the Roman Empire, reenactments of famous battles were held in this amphitheater, but there was a horrific loss of life. Over 500,000 humans and over 1 million animals perished. Many wonder, how could the citizens of Rome be entertained by such cruelty? Where was their morality? Fortunately, the Colosseum closed 390 years after it opened its doors, and the remaining relic stands as a harsh reminder of our history and our inhumanity. But in these modern times, mind-boggling atrocities still occur. We have 815 million people who go to bed hungry every night. A lot of us have never experienced hunger. It's not a fun experience. At the same time, at the other end of the spectrum, we have now 2.6 billion people who are overweight or obese, according to the NCD Risk Collaboration. These extreme malnutrition burdens are biologically complex, costly to society, and chip away at human potential and human capacity. And both are on the rise. We're seeing these numbers go in the wrong direction. They're the red canary in the coal mine. Food is tethered to these two extremes. We've got 1.3 billion tons of food that is lost or wasted of the 4 billion tons produced. That lost or wasted food could be feeding an additional 2 billion people. The amount is $1 trillion in economic losses for the world every year. Now, in Europe and North America, when we look at food loss and waste, 40% of food is wasted at the hands of retailers and consumers, where we display a lot of food, we buy too much food in the pursuit of overzealous food security. In places of sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, 40% of food is lost at the farm gate or is lost during storage, handling, and transportation. Much of that being the spoilage of nutritious foods like fruits and vegetables and animal source foods. But high-income countries are not immune. The agriculture sector, food supply chains experience losses in all regions of the world. Much of the food being lost around the world occurs across the entire food supply chain as food moves from point A to point B to point C, and this increases the risk of lost profits. Wasted food is a waste of our natural resources. 1.4 billion hectares of land is used to grow food that remains uneaten. Lost and wasted food consumes 21% of the fresh water on the planet and contributes 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Wasted food is also wasted nutrients. Colleagues at the Center for Livable Future at Johns Hopkins University did a study looking at food waste in the United States, and they found that on average, 1,200 calories, 50% of iron, 40% of vitamins A and C, and 30% of calcium per capita per day was lost because of wasted food. Nutrients that could be fulfilling the recommended daily allowances for individuals. Much of that, again, coming from the fresh, perishable foods like fruits and vegetables and animal source foods. Now, many of the micro food environments where consumers engage, they go to a food environment, they have to make a decision about what to buy or what to order, make up part of our global interconnected food system. And this interconnected food system is really at a crossroads. Our food system can go one way and essentially collapse like that of the Roman Empire, or it can thrive. The question is, will this be our moment in time to ensure the food system doesn't go off the rails? Our younger generation has gotten behind the food loss and waste agenda as something they can solve in their lifetime. Chefs are leading the way. Retailers are taking action. Governments are waking up. People are getting the food loss and waste, much more so than nutrition. And there's lots of tangible, innovative solutions. Some involve technology. Some involve changing producer practices or consumer behavior. Innovation across food supply chains. The Rockefeller Foundation came out with a very interesting report looking at the technology that can be applied across food supply chains to minimize waste. Things such as dehydration, solar preservation, micro cold transport, biodegradable coatings, traceability technologies. We also know that we need to improve the labels on foods, make them understandable for consumers. The sell by, use by, best before dates, they're confusing for people. And we ourselves need to change our own behavior. We need to stop buying so much food and only consume what we need. We need to be kind to ugly food. Don't be prejudiced against ugly food. And we need to pull what's in the back of our refrigerator, not always take out what's in the front. So we ourselves need to change. But we need to face some hard realities of what this is going to take. Massive scale of investments, incentive structures. We also need better measures of how much is lost in waste, where, and how. The next speakers are going to highlight some of the work that they're doing and some of the bold changes that they're making to try to address these inequities across food loss and waste. Every day I also walk by this beautiful column. It was built by the Colonna family, a very famous family in Italy. And the words engraved on there are Semper Immota. The words mean always remain unchanged. I love this idea in its deep-rooted resolve. Very Italian, Francesco Branca. But we must change in order to not go the way of the Roman Empire, which, if anyone doesn't know, it collapsed. Didn't mean to spoil the plot. But our food systems must adapt and transform. But as part of that transformation, it is our moral imperative to reduce the vast waste of our food system and ensure that those food systems are equitable, sustainable, accessible, healthy, safe, and just for all. The world will not just fill in the gaps that it makes. We as global citizens must fill those gaps. We have a role to ensure that we meet the demands of a growing population. It's growing, there's nothing we can do about it, so we need to deal with it, both young and old generations. Do it in a sustainable way. And we need to coexist in amity with the planet. Let us not decay into a Roman ruin. Ever-changing, ever-evolving in the whole dazzling pattern of human endeavor. And I'm going to end with a Robert F. Kennedy quote. If he would have become our president of the United States, maybe our world would be very different. Few will have the greatness to bend history, but each of us can work to change a small portion of the events. And in the total of all these acts will be written the history of this generation. Thank you.